Think blue-collar luxury of the 1970s, and there's a good chance you're picturing a Mark I Granada. But what about Vauxhall's arch rival to it? This, the FE Victor. Does it deserve to be forgotten in the shadow of its Ford rival? Let's take this one for a drive and find out. Just as Ford launched its all-conquering Mark I Granada, Vauxhall launched the latest and what would be the final iteration of its mid-size Victor, the FE. And like Ford, Vauxhall have gone with a transatlantic American style. In fact, they'd even marketed the FE Victor as going transatlantic. They wanted it to look and feel bigger. But here's the thing, despite only being 2 inches longer than the FD Victor, and most of that was in the bumpers, the FE was a far roomier car inside. In fact, it had a full 4 inches more legroom in the back and 1.5 inches more room in the front. So it was a really clever use of space behind what actually was a car that looked a lot bigger without really being any bigger. And when it comes to the design itself, the Victor is unquestionably distinctive. That big front grille, those little thin slit lights and that Americana-esque rear end. It is classy, it is unusual, and it does look a cut above a more basic, smaller Vauxhall. It lacks quite the muscular American look of the Mark I Granada, and if I'm honest, I do prefer the look of the Ford. But the Vauxhall still has a lot going for it. It still turns heads, and it does look and feel upmarket the minute you see it, particularly in a lovely shade of red like this one. It's got enough chrome, it's got some nice bits of bright work. It is an upmarket, more luxurious looking car. Behind the glamorous new look, there were some technical improvements for the FE Victor as well. It finally had a 4-speed manual gearbox, because by the early 70s, offering a 3-speed manual really wasn't acceptable. And the driving experience was made more modern as well. Not only did it have a steering rack, which meant it was a lot more responsive to turning inputs than before, but it gains lower and stiffer suspension to control body roll a bit more, and it gained an anti-roll bar. So what does it all add up to on this flowing Norfolk road here? Well, it's a very comfortable car, the Victor. It floats along and it's got a nice cosseting ride. You'll notice I've got a little bounce because of my soft seat, but actually it's remarkably comfortable just ironing out this rutted Norfolk road. But when you want to push on a little bit, it belies its presence as a 70s luxury saloon because it does handle remarkably well. Doesn't roll like a Granada does, and it feels tighter somehow. There's better body control and the steering inputs do seem to be doing more. There's less vagueness than a Ford Granada. Fling it into this right-hander here. There's a bit of roll, but it's a softly sprung 70s saloon car. It accounts for itself remarkably well, and it's comfortable. Floats along, and you can go from flinging it around like a hooligan to just cruising with ease. It does seem to combine comfort and cornering in a sort of more better managed balance than a Granada does. I love a Mark I Granada, but there's no denying the Victor is the tighter feeling car of the two. It feels more like a lower, firmer sprung car, but not in a jostly way. Oh, that engine is just lovely. But unfortunately, its thirst, combined with that slightly divisive styling, meant the FE Victor never really found its place. And it got worse when in 1975 the Cavalier was introduced as Vauxhall's compact repmobile that yet, despite being smaller than the Victor, was more expensive. So by that point, no one really knew where this car sat in the market. That, combined with its so-so looks and the all-star Ford Granada's epic marketing force behind it and its popularity from day one, meant the FE Victor sadly was on a bit of an uphill struggle, and ultimately Vauxhall would sell just 55,000 of these cars, but that didn't stop them from trying to turn its fortunes. In 1976 it was renamed the VX, and the Victor name was dropped altogether to give it a fresh look and feel. There was more power added, more equipment added. The VX 490 had 116 horsepower and a 5-speed manual gearbox. That was a proper sporty executive saloon car, the likes of which no Granada in Europe at least could touch. And actually now, 50 years on, when it doesn't really matter what this car's image is like or whether it can compete with a Ford or how thirsty it is really, when it's just about driving as a classic, as a car to make your day feel special and cruise around on a sunny day like today, the FE Victor is a charming thing. It's so comfortable, it's so relaxing to drive. Put your arm up on the window, drive it one-handed, legally of course, and enjoy this lovely cabin with its big, soft, squishy seats, its ample legroom front and back. It's a hugely roomy car, this lovely dashboard with those silver rimmed dials and that wood bit of trim there. Lovely view out front. This feels special. It puts a smile on your face. And as I've said, if truth be told, when you combine ride and handling, it's a nicer car to drive than the Granada, really. It lacks the cult following of the Ford, and maybe it's not quite as well rounded. But if anything, that makes the Victor more special. It gives it this quirky underdog character and personality. And really, drive one of these around today and you're more likely to turn heads than you are on a Granada, such is its rarity. So if you want a cool 70s classic that's still affordable, that you can use regularly and puts a smile on your face, and you fancy a bit of an underdog, see yourself out a Griffin.